The who, what, why, and when of data collection. Who reports? All LEA types are required to report. That includes school districts, intermediate units, career and technical centers, charter schools, approved private schools, private residential rehabilitation institutions, and state juvenile correctional institutions. What is reported? This data is reported in the October student data set. These are all the students educated by the LEA for one or more classes on the first business day in October. This could be the first, second, or the third. This also includes students taught by the LEA's teachers at an off-site location on the first business day in October. If your teacher is providing any class for this student, they must be in your October student data set. The Economic Disadvantage Status Code, Field 88, is also collected in these templates. This particular field is what indicates the economically disadvantaged status of a student. It is the only field used for the official low-income count for the Teacher Loan Forgiveness Program. That's why it's so important to make sure that this information is in Field 88. When determining the economic status of your students, do not use Economic Status Food Program Participant, Field 33, to determine low income. There are several data sources that are available to determine economically disadvantaged students. This can come from temporary assistance for needy families cases, census poor, Medicaid, children living in institutions for the neglected or the delinquent, and children living in foster homes. If you are a non-CEP school, you may use the most reliable information available at the time of determination, such as your free and reduced price lunch eligibility. Again, this is only the non-CEP schools that can use this information. Community Eligibility Provision, or CEP, schools. All students in CEP schools are to be reported as food program eligible, Field 131. You cannot use free and reduced price lunch eligibility when determining your students. Food program eligibility, Field 131. CEP schools are to report all students as program eligible regardless of their economic status. Non-CEP schools are only to report students as eligible if they are eligible to participate in the free or reduced price lunch program. Reporting pre-kindergarten students. From PIMS User Manual Volume 1, Students to be reported. Record all students enrolled in the LEA's pre-kindergarten program. Most of these students will be 3 or 4 years of age. All students should be included, regardless of funding source, including any students who are Head Start or PA Pre-K Count students as described below. If the school is a partner in the program and funds pass from the grantee to the school, then the school reports enrollments. If the program is renting space in the school facility, but is not in partnership with the school, then the school does not report enrollment. Note, PA Pre-K Counts membership and attendance should be excluded from the child accounting data in the student calendar fact template. Cyber programs. The school in which the student would attend if he or she was not in a cyber program will report that student. A non-resident student attending a cyber program will be reported by the sending LEA. You do not report the students from another LEA that are only there for the cyber program. Remember, the cyber program is not the same as a cyber charter school. Cyber charter schools are recognized as separate LEAs that assume accountability for their cyber students and report them in the October student data set. Alternative Education for Disruptive Youth, AEDY program. Again, this is a program, so it's an extension of the LEA. The LEA is responsible for reporting these students regardless of program location. Report the student with the school location code he or she would attend if not in an AEDY program. These students also need to be reported in the program's fact template as participating in the AEDY program. Alternative education students that are not AEDY program. These are students that are in a PRRI, an APS, that are court or agency placed or educated in detention centers, residential treatment facilities, day treatment, or partial hospitalization. The PRRI or APS reports the student with the correct district of residence and location code of residence. If the facility is not reporting to PIMS, then the sending LEA must report these students in location code 9999. Your special education students also need to be reported in the templates. You will report the grade level indicated on the IEP. This should not be based on the student's age or the number of years the student has been in school. It must come from the IEP. The grade 9 entry date is reported for students who have entered 9th grade, including a PASA student who entered 9th grade and then due to a student illness or injury is now considered a PASA student. Why is this information reported? First, it's mandated by state and federal regulations. It's also used for the school performance profile, which assesses school success. Remember, these reports are published. Another thing that's important to remember is the data that you are submitting now, once it has been finalized in PIMS, there are no appeals and no changes. So you want to make sure that your data is accurate so that your school performance profile is accurate as well. You can see the list of data that is used for the SPP in PIMS Manual Volume 1 at School Performance Profile. When is this data reported? Collection 1 window is open from October 3rd to October 18th at noon for the 2016-17 school year. Once that collection window closes, there will be a time for follow-up, review, and editing, which will occur from October 20th to November 1st. You cannot submit data at this time, but we do encourage you to run the reports, verify your data, and have your data ready with any edits that are needed when the correction window opens on November 2nd. This window will remain open until November 15th at noon. During this time, you will want to make sure that you are running your ACS to verify that your data is accurate. The ACS is due November 15th, but if you wait until November 15th to run your ACS and realize that you have some data that is wrong and needs edited, you will only have until November 15th at noon to correct that data. If you run it early, you will still have time to make your edits and submit a signed, accurate ACS on November 15th.